Okay, so I was mildly concerned by the mistakes that I was seeing between the homework and the test, so I wanted to take a moment to kind of re-go over this kind of color wheel business, but it seems like the static images don't really do much for making sense. So I wanted to make my own color wheel that I could then animate for you guys. And while I do have some animation skills, I don't have enough to be able to do it with the techniques and technologies that I have available. So for this, I am recording based on a piece of paper, and you can see the color wheel. And now I did this freehand, so the spaces aren't perfectly even, and you can see that it's not perfectly blended, but it should still get the point across. So this is a very basic color wheel. It's got 12 colors. We've got our primaries, red, yellow, and blue. We've got our secondaries, orange, green, and violet. And then we've got our tertiaries, or intermediate colors, red, violet, red, orange, yellow, green, and blue, violet. You might notice that the primary color comes first in those names. That's not necessarily important, but it is important to keep track of these hyphens, because that'll help make sure that you know what hues you're naming and putting together. So the first color scheme I'm going to talk about is analogous. And if you recall, it's 3 to 5 next to each other. So I can move this to any set on this color wheel, and I know that that range is going to be an analogous range because they're all next to each other. Now, I say 3 to 5, so if I pull this out farther, it'll only go from blue to red violet. We could even say it's so little as blue violet to red violet, but I know that no matter where I put this, that will make an analogous set. Now, if I put this closer to the center, I'm going to point out that there are 2 analogous sets that have names. The first one being warm colors, red violet to yellow green. The second analogous color set that has a name is green through violet, or red violet. Depending on who you talk to, those edges can be kind of wishy-washy, but these colors tend to be cooler, calmer. They tend to make us feel a little bit more sad or depressed, whereas these ones are more energetic and lively. And now, it can be kind of a misnomer to describe them as light versus dark, because this is a very bright color, and this is a very bright color, but they're both cool colors. So think of them more as warm and cool rather than light and dark, because, as you know, with tints, shades, and tones, light and dark come later. Moving on, I'm going to move on to complementary. So complementary colors are ones that are opposite on the color wheel. So I'm lining this up on the center of my color wheel, and any combination where these are pointing are going to be complementary sets. So violet and yellow are a complementary pair. Red violet and yellow green are a complementary pair. Complementary is always in pairs. Okay, so if you want to imagine something, imagine that it's just a stick. Complementary is a straight stick. Complementary is always in pairs. Some commonly known ones are red and green. If you think about it, Easter is red and green. Not Easter. I'm going crazy. I really am. Christmas is red and green. Okay. Another commonly known one, at least here in Minnesota, purple and yellow. Go Vikings. If you are a, Hornets fan? Blue and orange? Broncos, I think, are blue and orange. They're a slightly different kind of blue, so depending on what kind of color scheme you're looking at, they might be kind of varied. The next thing that I want to bring up is split complementary. So if complementary was a straight stick, split complementary is like a Y. And if you'll notice, one section is smaller than the other two. So if I put this around my red, because I've been focusing kind of around the idea of red being the top, it's our most intense color. We see it the most easily. Developmentally speaking, it's the first color that we can see, and as humans, it's the first color that we identified. Red means danger, so we want to keep that in mind. So split complementary is a color and the two colors around its complement. So if the complementary color scheme with green includes red, the split complement includes red-violet and red-orange. See how that works? So complementary is a straight stick, two colors. Split complementary is a Y with three colors. One of them being a color, and two of them being around its complement. Got that? Now I want you to compare that to the difference between a split complementary and a triad. Both split complementary and triadic color schemes involve three colors, or 3 points. Triads you can think of kind of like a ninja star. I don't know how you want to think about this, kind of a helicopter, whatever. We have two named triads. We have our secondary colors of purple, orange, and green, and we have our primary colors of red, yellow, and blue. Please excuse me as I try to arrange this so you can actually see it. These triads are equally spaced around the color wheel. You can think of it as being 3 colors, equally spaced, but not only are there 3 colors equally spaced, but there are 1, 2, 3 colors between each leg of the triad. So between blue and red, there are 3 colors. Between blue and yellow, there are 3 colors. This is another way that you can support your idea of what the difference between a triad and a split complementary color scheme is. I'm going to line these up, so we're both using red. But notice now that there's only 1 color between the 2 legs of the split complement, and that 1 color is the complement of red. Similarly, there's more spaces between the other 2 legs, because now there's 4 colors between the split complement legs and the original, as compared back to the triad, which has 3. Okay? Is that helpful? I sure as heck hope so. If you would like to retake the test, I'm going to give you guys one more attempt after this. I also took off a couple of points from the overall score because I realized that there were 2 pictures that really said the same exact thing, and so they were both right for 2 questions. So I'm making it so they're effectively extra credit if you read my mind in which ones that they were supposed to go in. Otherwise, hopefully this helps, and I look forward to seeing your work this coming week.